Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, which Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, who you people ignorantly call God, Bahashem, which is in the name of Yahushua, which is the name of the only begotten Son, who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Those are the true names of the Heavenly Father and the Son. Plus, I do want to give a shout out to you, Akim, that's pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth, spreading His word, and also uplifting the name of Yahweh, Yahushua, into the confusion of faces, whose bloodline traces back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers, which makes you, though you may look like the heathens you're scattered amongst, okay, one of the other nations, okay, which makes you Israelites by blood if your line traces back to our forefathers, okay, or to, of course, a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, okay. Most importantly, if the Spirit bear witness with this word and you can receive it, okay, to the confusion of faces, you are Israelites. Or those, you fit those categories. To you sisters that do listen and learn, shalom. To the elect of the nation of Israel, who this word is going out to, shalom to you as well, wherever you may be throughout the four corners of the globe. To you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the Hebrew Israelites, the true Jews of the Bible, not black, not Latino, not Native American. Those are all bywords. And I'm here with a real quick lesson that I wanted to do or put together. And it's over for Esau, man. Esau, Edom, who is the so-called white race, okay? It's over. Okay, so I'm just going to get into it. It says Brexit vote. Donald Tusk suggests UK stay in the EU because they're divided over this whole Brexit situation. You know, I'm not good with the whole Brexit situation that's going on because there's so much stuff going on. But basically, you have the UK or London, okay? They want to pull out of the EU, okay? So I'm going to read this article and I'm going to go to a video and then I'm going to get the scriptures. I might not read this whole article. It says European Council President Donald Tusk has suggested that the UK should stay in the EU after the Prime Minister's Brexit deal was rejected in Parliament. If a deal is impossible and no one wants no deal, then who will finally have the courage to say what's the only positive solution it is? He tweeted. Okay? MPs voted by 432 votes to 202 to reject the deal, which sets out the terms of Britain's exit from the EU on the 29th of March. EU officials and politicians have reacted with dismay to the result. It says it was the largest defeat for a sitting government in history, with 118 vote of the votes against coming from Prime Minister Theresa May on Conservative Party. It has cast more doubt on the Brexit process, and the leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, has tabled a vote of no confidence in the government. As well as Mr. Tusk's tweet, there has been plenty of comment on Tuesday's vote from across Europe. Here are key quotes. Europe Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker warned that the time was running out for the UK to strike a deal. And no, what does it say in the scriptures? Can two men be? Can we be agreed? Can two men be? I forgot what it was like. Let me get it. Nah, not that one. Let me see. Can two men? That's what it was like. It was like, can two men walk together, except they be agreed, man? And they can't seem to do that. Okay, that's in the book of Amos, the 5th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. It says, I urge the United Kingdom to clarify its intentions as soon as possible. Time is almost up, he said shortly after the results was announced. The risk of disorderly withdrawal of the United Kingdom has increased with the evening vote, he added. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michael Barnier, said the UK had to decide on its approach. It's now up to the British government to say what's the next stage. As he said, the EU will remain united and determined to find a deal, which they're not, okay? They're not. They're not. German Finance Minister and Vice Chancellor Olaf Scholz, whatever his name is, said Tuesday was a bitter day for Europe. We are well prepared, but a hard Brexit will be the least attractive choice for the EU and UK, he said. Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, the leader of the ruling Christian Democrat Union Party, echoed this view. A hard Brexit will be the worst of all options, she said. Is that it right there? Hold on. 8. Oh, hold on, I just skipped down. That's a whole article. Okay? The pressure is mainly on them. French President Emmanuel Macron said of the UK. And the thing is, you have Macron, who was like I just said, the president of France, and then you also have Theresa May of London. You have the people of that country. They want to overthrow these two people, man. They want to overthrow their government, which is the uproars of the people, which I should be doing a video on that, if I could get to it. But back to the lesson, it says he warned that a transition period is essential because a no-deal Brexit will be damaging. We will have to negotiate a transition period with them because the British cannot afford them to no longer have planes taking off or landing at home, he said. Okay? I just ended it here. Ireland. In a short statement, the Irish government said it will ramp up preparations for the UK leaving without an agreement. Regrettably, the outcome of tonight's vote increases the risk of disorderly Brexit, it said. Consequently, the government will continue to intensify preparations for such an outcome. Okay? But they're divided. So now I'm going to show you on YouTube another video. In Turkey, according to the scriptures, well, I'm going to get it. Turkey is a part of NATO, okay? Which America is ahead of, okay? So you have the beast, okay, right? The beast, which is you got the 10 horns, which is the EU, and you got the beast, which is NATO, man. But they're both, one and the same, okay? So, America rides them, okay? America's partners with them, okay? So here it is with this video right here.
Turkey says it will not be intimidated by the United States' threats over Kurdish militants.
We have said it several times that we are not going to be afraid of any threat and will not bow down to it. We have said it before, so nothing can be achieved by threatening Turkey economically.
The top Turkish diplomat also said that strategic partners do not communicate over Twitter or social media. Instead, they discuss issues bilaterally. Çavuşoğlu's comments followed remarks by U.S. President Donald Trump about American forces pull out from Syria. In a tweet, Trump said that the withdrawal has started, but the U.S. will continue to hit remaining Daesh terrorists. Trump also threatened Turkey with economic devastation if it attacks Kurdish forces in Syria after the U.S. withdrawal. Washington backs Kurdish forces stationed in northern Syria. Ankara considers them terrorists and wants to defeat them. Okay, now let's see who's joining us to get some more information about this issue and discuss it. We'll have Rashan Saglamar, correspondent in Istanbul, and also James Jatres, who's former U.S. Senate Foreign Policy Analyst, joining us from Washington, D.C. Good to see you both. Now, let me start with Rashan Saglamar, correspondent. Rashan, looks like that Turkish officials are furious, and also they are always standing ready to respond to the U.S. Threats.
Yes, of course, as always, they directly respond, and we were shocked that Erdogan actually did not respond to those threats by Trump, and we expected him to actually speak about it, not only his spokesperson. But I think that Turkey is trying to just send a slight message to the United States that despite those threats, economically we were not affected. We were slightly affected last year by the drop in lira. However, we could still cope with that, and that we are still going with a military operation in northern Syria. So this message was sent by a foreign minister and a presidency spokesperson because it came on Twitter. And just as Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, the Turkish foreign minister, mentioned that strategic partners should not be discussing those things on social media. And I think Trump did this on purpose, not only to just give a hint to Turkey or threaten Turkey. In fact, he tried to do this because he wanted to assure the Kurds that we are still trying to support you and protect you. This is what analysts here are dealing with or are talking about. They are saying that Trump is still trying to keep his hands inside Syria by supporting the Kurds but not having the troops over there because he had already taken that decision. And analysts here are saying that Trump is regretting that decision, and he's trying to satisfy all the parties. He's trying to satisfy France that got angry because of this decision. He is also trying to still maintain his ties with the Kurds, to still use this card against countries in the region. And analysts are saying that this card of the Kurds, of PKK and YPG, are being used by the United States and Israel against Iraq, against Syria and Turkey as well. Whenever they want something, they try to manipulate the Kurdish card. Right. And also a very important point was spoken by Cavusoglu, is that you can never compare the Syrian Kurds with PKK and YPG. Those are terrorist groups and.
But that's it. You get the point, okay? And what I'm getting at with this video is that this man is divided, man. And the reason why Turkey, you know, is acting up this way, you know, acting towards America, just like everybody, all the other allies, okay, is because of that Ezekiel 38 verse, the 38th chapter, okay? Who are they being protected by? According to Ezekiel 38 verse 7. Ezekiel 38 verse 1, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog. Gog is Russia, according to the scriptures. Okay? The land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, saying he's going to put the Russians back in that hate America spirit, had put that hate America spirit back in them, which you now see. Now it goes into the people. Persia, the nations actually, which is Iran, okay? Ethiopia, that's Cush, that's the Hamites, okay? In Libya, Hamites also, the so-called Africans, by the way, with them, all of them were shielding him. Gomer, who is that? Turkey. And all his bands, the house of Togum of the North Course, and all his bands, and many people with thee. But here's the point. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Okay? So it's telling Russia to be a guard over these nations I just named you. And plus some, man. Okay? So Turkey, that's why Turkey is the way they are, okay? That's why they're bucking up against America, man. Okay? Turkey's not scared of America, okay? Because why? Because nor is the rest of these nations, Iran, China. Why? Because they're guarded by Russia. They don't care anymore. But the point I want to get, this is Mark 3, the 3rd chapter. The 23rd verse. This is Mark 3 and 23, Salakia. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Okay? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand, man. You have the EU, which the EU was the monitor. You have the EU and NATO, right? The beast system, right? Okay? So you have them, okay? America is on top of them. America rides them, okay? So you got them two, right? The EU being basically the monetary side of it, and the NATO being the military side of it, the muscle, okay? But now you have the EU, okay? What's going on in the EU? First of all, the EU's not supping with America, okay? They're actually dealing with their wrong. On top of that, they're also hiding behind the Russians for defense. And then on top of that, you have this little Brexit situation, and you got the UK or London, okay, the United Kingdom, basically wanting wanting out of the EU, man. So that's falling apart, okay? And then you have the over here in NATO, due to the tariffs, just like the EU as well. America whole going back to the tariffs being slapped on them. You have NATO allies like Canada and mainly Turkey, okay? They're fed up with the United States, okay? They're getting threatened by the United States, and they're fed up, man, okay? So they basically this kingdom, okay, which they were all one thing, they're divided, man, okay? The 25th verse. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end. Okay? And this shows you that we're in the end. Okay? All that was all combined. They were all together. Now they're divided. Okay? Plus all the other chaos and problems that's going on in this world. Okay? Which is all according to biblical prophecy and the scriptures. Okay? But this is what it's all leading to. This was the end game for it. This is Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. That's happening. And in these little two examples I'm showing you, that's just little to compare what's going on. You have the I forgot it was Yemen. Okay, you have Israel also doing bombs, dropping continual bombs on Iran, telling them to get out of Syria or we're gonna continue doing it. Okay, you have Yemen. I forgot what Yemen struck. They struck something. Okay, it was also an encounter with the United States not too long ago with the ships, or a China ship. Okay, but this thing is happening, man. Okay. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks and spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. That's these other nations. These other nations were once weak, but now they're strong. Okay, they're strong. They're getting strong military, economically. Okay, and what's that main thing? They're behind Russia. Okay, Russia's the ultimate muscle, and Russia's with the Russians are Edomites as well. The Lord's going to use, just like it said in Ezekiel. The 38th chapter, the Lord is going to use the Gog or the Russians to take down America, okay? And then he's going to take them down as well, okay? So basically, that's how the Lord gets down. He's going to use heathens to take down other heathens, man, okay? Beat your plowshares and swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. And what Turkey's doing, Turkey's basically standing up. Iran's standing up. Everybody's standing up, man. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about. Let the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come out to the valley of Jehoshaphat. That's the Middle East. And you see they over there in Syria. That's where most of the conflict is taking place. But just it's the Middle East, man. For there would I sit to judge all the heathen round about, man. Okay? That's the Lord, man. That's all the work of the Lord. Okay? It's all the working of the Lord. Okay? I told you in Isaiah, the third chapter, what is it? The third chapter, in the 25th verse, thy men shall fall by the sword, thy mighty men in war. Okay? That's what's about to happen. Okay? But after this war is over, this is the second chapter, if I'm not mistaken. I'm confident it's the second chapter, Isaiah. Yeah, there it is. I was right. That was the second. Yeah, so it says, I'm going to start the first verse. The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos saw concerning Judah, the so-called Negroes, that you are the tribe of Judah, okay? the head tribe of all the 12 tribes in Jerusalem. So it's you other tribes, okay, from the Latinos all the way down to the Native Americans. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills. All nations shall flow onto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the Most High of Jacob. Jacob, whose name is you. Well, Jacob is you Israelites, okay? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And he would teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into point hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Okay? Which proves that those the Jewish people that you see in our homeland Israel right now, they're not the real Jews, because why is it still war going on? Why is war about to happen? Okay? That's because they're behind the wars, okay? So that proves they're not the Israelites. But when we get into power, which is about to happen, literally about to happen, when the last seconds, okay, from this happening, if you get what I mean, all this whole warring, going to war, stealing for resources and everything, getting money, that's all gonna end, man. Okay? There will be no more war. Okay? And it talks about how we're gonna burn. I wonder if it was guns. It's in the book of Ezekiel. I just forgot where. Yeah. Yeah, okay. This is Ezekiel. And then this is going to happen. This is Ezekiel 38 and 9. Let me see. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers and the bows and the arrows and the hand staves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years, so that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any of the forest. For they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, said the Lord Yahweh. Okay, that's you other nations, man. But all after this happens, okay, you're going into captivity. Yahweh, first of all, Yahweh is going to come in. Okay? We're going to take you heathens down. Okay? Then we're going to burn your weapons. And there it is, man. Slavery. Okay? Starting with the head nation. We Edom. Okay? You so-called white people. Okay? So this war is going to be the last war. And after this, is going to be no more war. Why? Because the children of Israel is going to be in power. Starting with the elect. Okay? But, Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. Okay? And shalom to the hopeful elect. Because that's World War III, and everything else is basically right around the corner. Shalom.